Why, hello there, and welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm laughing to another episode of Let's Chat About Death. And I'm joined on the panel with a voice from the past, and it's Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Simon and I are going to talk to you today about something that really affected us the other day. I just think people out there sort of need to know, I guess, the difference between what we do in Australia against what other countries do. And we had a bit of a situation probably over the last couple of weeks. We had a family reach out to us. We've done previous funerals for like family or members of their social group. Nearly stumbled on my words there. I didn't know what to say. But of this gentleman that passed away over in Bali, and he was over there with his children, and all of a sudden, it was lights out, unfortunately, for him, which was terrible. Terrible situation that your family had to sort of go through. His partner was still in Australia at the time. She had a bit of a fear of flying, I found out. And so I guess a Nova, well, it's an Australian-based company that deals with a lot of overseas or international repatriations across to Australia. And I must say that our experience with this organisation, maybe at the start was probably okay, but at the end with the final result was pretty damn atrocious, really. And I have dealt with this country before with the Bali bombings that happened. And I mean, that was a different scenario though, compared to what we've had to deal with this one. So this overseas company decided that they were going to repat from Bali for this family. And I must tell you that the family have paid, well, the insurance company has paid top dollar for this company. So I would have expected nothing but the best for this family. Upon receiving this gentleman into our care, was not so good, and that's putting it politely. And obviously, I'm not going to name and shame anyone on here because that isn't our thing. But we are dealing with, I'd use the word mega business. It's a big company, but Bali. You ever been to Bali?
No, I haven't.
No, neither have I.
My brother's been, but not me.
Yeah, no, I don't know if look, a lot of people go over there because it's cheap and get on the bees. What
That's
is it
probably
called?
the main
Bing tang, bing tang.
That's probably the main reason because it's cheap.
And the lady boys or whatever they are over there, and cheap. Yeah, cheap. I'm not real one for heat. I don't tend to go too well when it's really, really hot. I guess it's a moist. That's a word people don't like either.
It's the humidity.
Yeah, humidity. Yeah, is a big one. So obviously, when it comes to deceased people, when they pass away in a country similar to Bali or any hot area around the globe, and there's multiples of countries like that. What do you reckon one of the first things that these countries need to do with that body? What do you reckon?
Cold storage.
Yeah. Get it to somewhere that is cool very, very quickly. Because if we don't, then what happens?
Decomposition.
Yeah.
Kicks in a lot faster.
Yeah. And I am only going by family experience in regards to when he did pass, which was in a hospital, that they were really good at what they did. The healthcare was pretty good, but I think it was then the aftercare that pretty much let let this company and family down. They were promised a lot of things, and I don't like making promises. Now, I'm saying that I didn't promise anything, obviously. It was this other company that did. Because until I get that person into my care, then I can deem if having a viewing or any other thing is going to work. And for me to say no, that means that there is nothing else or anyone else that I know of that can actually physically do anything for that person. And you saw the person.
Yeah.
You saw the
did.
person, and it was terrible. Like you said, cold storage is one of the first things. Now, this company also, or the embalmers over there said they were going to fully embalm this person. It's one of those requirements, isn't it, for a repat, where they must be embalmed. Do you believe with what we saw that there was any evidence of that taking place and I mean venously, not externally?
No,
No.
I couldn't see anything.
No.
You know, what looked like an incision wasn't actually an incision,
No.
and there was definitely no stitches.
It was
anyway.
a blackhead.
So
It was an area of blackheads. But we had to look. So obviously, when it comes to embalming, there's certain areas around the body that are more used than others, more than others. And this gentleman that did come into our care just didn't have any of those signs of embalming, even though the quotation that the family was given stated, or the certificate of embalming, was that it was done, not unless they do something totally different to what we do. But I thought that embalming was universal. I thought, because the body's the body, it doesn't change because you're in Bali, does it? Like,
it shouldn't, because no matter what country you're in, a human is a human.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
that we have the same organs.
Unless they're an alien, and then that's different.
We have the same everything.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But if you're in Tasmania, then you end up with two heads. Boom. Yeah, you're right. That. No, sorry. Sorry for all the Tasmanians. I apologise. Not really. No. So evidence of things going a little bit pear-shaped was well and truly out there. The first thing that probably got me was and I'll use the word shipping, I don't like it, but shipping container that this gentleman was in. Now, having a look at that shipping container after we pulled everything apart was basically just plyboard. You look at it and you think, oh my God, like, that's going to be heavy. But he was heavy.
He sure was.
But his shipping container or coffin certainly was not. And it was only held together by 25 mil nails, and it was pretty flimsy by the time you started playing around with it. I think if it wasn't for the little bits of metal, I don't even know what you call that, like the
sort of like tin
thing that was in there, that probably was what was keeping it together. There was no under crate, shipping crate of what normally comes in with anything from the airport, and there certainly wasn't anything over the top of it to protect it. So that was my first thing, like, oh my God, like, luckily he's got here without a fork prong going through the front or whatever.
Well, that's it, because he had no labels that he was actually in there.
No.
You know, anyone at the depot would have thought it was just a shipping container filled with, you know, food supplies or whatever it may be. And
Gold
if someone,
coins.
Yeah, could be.
Bitcoin.
And all it takes is one reckless forklift operator.
Yeah.
And he's dropped. He's everywhere.
He's done. Yeah. And I reckon it probably wouldn't have taken much for that to happen. But anyway, look, he came to us, and this corporation or this company delivered straight to our door, which was now that I think was a really good thing, because I probably would have lost my bananas at the airport if I would have seen that. You know, we're talking about 250 kilos of shipping container plus body. And I can tell you now that majority of that was body. just from sheer he was a larger in life character, and I think with whatever they did with him over there, just made it. It could have been 10 litres of fluid put onto him somehow, or I don't know. Like it's just it really blows my mind. Take him through a little bit about what else we had to do there. So we opened up the lid, and then what did we do?
Well, the first thing I noticed when we opened up the lid was I started getting some sort of sensation through my nostrils.
Yeah, he was a sookie lala, really. But yeah.
And,
And luckily there was none of these coming out of that. Yeah.
I'd be worried if there was.
Yeah.
But, probably after we've got the lid off and everything, probably the biggest thing I saw as well was the foam. There was no sort of like any form of padding apart from that foam, and I'm talking.
They
that
look like
foam.
pool noodles when we first took that off. Now that we were talking about before about the tin, that was held together by small nails and sticky tape, and I mean a lot of countries do what they call metal lined. You don't really see lead lined anymore, or zinc, unless you come from different faraway countries, but.
But if you went into your attic, if you have an attic, right? If you went into your attic and you saw sort of like insulation foam,
yeah,
similar to that.
Yeah. Or the old like couch foam.
Yeah, it's
or
like a
pillow.
yellowy foam.
Yeah. That type of thing. You get it from Bunnings or something like that in rolls.
But it wasn't under him; it was on top of him.
Yeah.
So what is it? Padding? I don't know.
Yeah. The big thing was with that, I guess how I put it into a report was that it was protecting him from, so-called protecting him from hitting the sides or any movement in the coffin. But also what did hit us was this big waft of, now I'm only going to go by using the word embalming chemical because what else, or preservation fluid, what else would you use in regards to that? The smell related as formaldehyde, but other countries have got different ways or different chemical that they can use because of obviously their standards against ours. And when it does start tickling up your nose, and we were wearing a protective mask, like a N95 mask, but when it hits your eyeballs, mate, and you're wearing gloves, it's like you can't get in there and like get your finger. No,
you couldn't even use your shirt, like burying your head into your shirt because you got an apron on and that's been touching it. So you just had to tough it out.
Yeah. You had to suck it up. But it was very, very powerful. We ended up obviously having to get some air flowing in there, so the old fan. But just this poor gentleman's condition was probably the biggest thing that got me. Like you said, they were utilising this foam, and everything was moist, wasn't it? Like wet. And the sides were mouldy. So, like, you can't tell me that's normal. Like that's just not right.
Not.
That's like someone has been out longer than what they should have, and I don't know. That's just me.
It also looked like there was no care put into the entire thing.
No. This gentleman was, and I'll use the word hog-tied because a lot of people will understand that, to keep his arms up and his legs straight, and it's like there was no need for that either. Where is the standard? And I guess if we talk about death and no one ever wants to talk about it, I guess that's why we do these podcasts, is to talk about things that are like sort of reportable. Like public need to know certain things of, like if something happens overseas, then really research how it's going to happen, because this poor family were just taken for a ride, and it was sad really to see it. But the smell of this embalming chemical. So for the next 24 hours, or that after, and I probably took a big mouthful of it in. Most of that chemical is carcinogenic, so it's going to have, it's like asbestos. You're going to have an effect of it later on in life. And when you are working around it quite often, like most embalmers do, they just become, it's like, oh yeah, that smells okay, but it's 20 years, 30 years down the track that could be the issue.
Yeah, it sits in the bottom of your lungs, and then
Yeah.
as you age, then
And
that
you go,
starts
hello,
really taking
here
its
we
toll.
go. Here's the formaldehyde. I'm coming out.
Back in my day.
Yeah. So you the inner zombie comes out as the formaldehyde. What else? Yeah, he obviously he was a larger man, and they had just basically dressed him in whatever they probably had around. I think those pants were physically made for him, just straight off, the production line in Bali. And the shirt, I don't think the shirt even belonged to him.
No.
So where did they get it from?
But he was quite dirty himself.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe they didn't wash him at all.
No, there was a lot of remnants of, like, I use the word, like you left out in a shed and, someone's, doing woodwork or, it was just, it just wasn't right. But I think how, obviously once we got him out and sort of couldn't really clean him up a bit because his skin was already compromised. To me personally, I feel as though that he was just given a pour over of embalming fluid and gone, he's externally embalmed. But there was no aspiration. There was no closure of mouth properly. They've just shoved something underneath his chin. Because like I said, we're only experienced in what we get here. All right, we don't. Apart from my other experience with Bali or some other countries, there's even a high standard from Australia to New Zealand. Like if someone's not in a hermetically sealed bag or they're not done this way, then that's reportable to the authorities. But somewhere along the line, these countries that are far away, like if they're not going to do the job right, then don't do it. There should be a thing like, no, we're not sending people across. We're going to cremate them here or we're going to bury them here. That's it. Because this family, and especially the partner of 15 years, was really itching to see him and to be able to tell her that she can't, that was gut-wrenching, absolutely gut-wrenching. And I'm going to make sure, that never happens again because that is unacceptable.
Absolutely, because that's still a loved one at the end of the day.
I just felt like crap, saying to the partner, "There's just nothing I can do," and that hurts me because I go out of my way to make sure we do stuff, and it has to be done right. Even know with prepping, like just because someone's not going to be viewed, how do you know on the day that they're not going to be?
Exactly.
If you don't go, I'm not going to do eye caps or I'm not going to do this or we won't worry about washing them, but we have to unless they're compromised.
Exactly. And, the only time, like you said, that we wouldn't prep someone is if they really couldn't do a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But as long as there's one thing we can do, we'll do it.
Yeah. So, after your experience, like how did you feel all about it?
Well, I felt bad for the family and I felt bad for him, because he's still a person. Like that could have been me, could have been one of my loved ones, could have been anyone.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, my brother's been to Bali.
Yeah.
I would have been completely ticked off if my brother had passed over there and he came back like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's we always look at everything as though if that was our own family and how we would feel, and and I guess it's not all about the money, but when you do pay a crap load of money towards organisations that you believe to be right, like what they could have said was, look, just letting you know, he's deteriorated quite rapidly, and there isn't a lot that we can do, and we believe that it's possibly not a viewing. That's what they could have said, and it probably would have alleviated all the stress of this family. So we get him here late, and then we're expected then to deliver a service back to that family, and we couldn't deliver on that. I mean, she still got the opportunity to come in and be with the coffin, but that's not the same.
No.
It's not the same as saying, honey, I'm here now, and I just want to, just hold your hand or, stroke your hair or whatever it is, but you can't in that situation.
The final image would be that coffin, and that's it.
Yeah. But then some would say, viewings, sometimes the person will look worse than what they did, and that can happen. But I guess if you've had a crap experience, like at a hospital or a nursing home or, eyes open, jaw open, whatever, then it's going to stay with you. Whereas if you see them once they're, like the gentleman that we dressed today, in a beautiful suit, and was it today?
It was.
It
was this morning.
The formaldehyde poisoning is still getting me. But you see these people come in very vulnerable. They're very and you think, oh wow, and then you dress them up. You've washed them. You dress them, comb their hair, brush their hair, or whatever, and they look like $1 million. That's the part that gets me. When I can't deliver that.
In the past, like I've had people, we've dealt with families where they've gone, Dad looks fantastic, looks so much better than he does now than he's ever taken care of himself, know?
Yeah.
We've known him to never look this smart or never look this good with his hair, or his beard looks amazing, and that makes you feel really good about what you've done for this family.
Yeah.
So when you can't do things like that, then it really gets you.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you failed that family.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Oh, I just, I mean, obviously I wasn't going to expose him to anyone else. I mean, we've taken lots of photos of it because that then becomes a catalogue of proof of exact, because, oh no, but when he left here in Bali, he was perfect. No, he wasn't, because we've got proof of that. If only they sent the photos earlier, we would have been able to at least defer the family from thinking that was going to happen.
Even if he looked good and everything was perfect with, how he arrived and what he arrived in, if everything was all fine, but because of that chemical that was potentially poured externally, he still could not have a viewing, because the first thing the family would feel is that chemical. Yeah. Then you're exposing more people. Oh, yeah,
we felt it.
We felt it. It was just two of us. Imagine just doing that in a room filled with people.
Yeah, it's because the thing is you can't see it. You can't, I mean, you can certainly feel it. It does have a smell to it. But then some of that chemical is non-smelling. So you go, oh, my eyes might, I'm not feeling the best, and that can come too. But as soon as we cracked that lid, that was it.
Yeah,
I knew. Oh no, this is going to end not too good.
Yeah, as soon as that air came out of that container.
Yeah, then it was like,
flaming nostrils.
Oh yeah, and then
it was until I touched the foam, then my eyes copped it. So I started crying, but I couldn't look away.
But we were so lucky. That it just sounds awful, but it was going to be bin day. So we managed, we had to basically circular saw the whole coffin down into bits. We couldn't recover it. We couldn't do anything. It just had to get him out, had to be totally destroyed to get it. And that's not a normal, but I don't know. To them, maybe that's totally different over there. I can only go by that. Maybe that's...
Or maybe they just don't have a lot of wealth over there to the point they can only do what's within their financial capabilities.
That's right, yeah.
So that's another thing, money.
Yeah.
If they don't have money to produce proper coffins or interiors or afford proper embalming chemicals or procedure to do it correctly...
Yeah, we'll just water that stuff down.
Yeah. I've never liked, going to Thailand or Bali, and it's probably purely because of these reasons. There's a lot of people that I've seen, go over there for surgeries, whether it's a breast reduction or implants or whatever, but it always comes back botched.
Yeah.
So
And then you got to live with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And go through all the health issues from there. But no, I just thought we'd come on and talk about that because, a lot of public don't see that. They just see, yep, he's there on the day. And look, we had his funeral yesterday and the family was very happy. And, the thing is that there's no hidden agendas. There's nothing. This is what's happened. And, I just think it's necessary for people to do a bit of research and if you ever feel as though that you don't trust people, then don't use them.
Exactly.
I guess it's hard with overseas countries because it's hard enough that when your loved one's over there, deceased, but then you're only going by people that are saying, oh, they're a good company, they're doing this, they're doing that, but you just want to wrap them up yourself. And
it all depends on what overseas country. Like if it was America, that would come back pretty normal.
Oh yeah.
Because America and Australia, they share the same sort of practices and procedures and things. So if someone was to be, an Australian was to die in America and come back over, then I'd probably be a little bit more confident that they would be, preserved.
Yeah.
If I could use that word.
Look, like I said, we were horrified with it, and I just think it's necessary for people to know that. And you guys out there have always asked, just call it how it is. So we're just telling you how it is. But the ones that I have seen from Bali or any of those Southeast Asian areas have pretty much all been the same, quite similar, I should say. And it just obviously is just how they do stuff, but it's not our standard at all. For the Australians to be waving the flag for these people doing that, then they shouldn't be, because that's not right. I tell you, if it was a soldier and they came back like that, what do you reckon the Defence Force would do?
Oh, there would be a big thing about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
You would be front and centre. You'd be in the papers every day and on the radio and whatever. But no, little old, Mr. K, he just gets to just be him, really, and no one. But hopefully the family does follow up and gives their opinions and how they feel, and because feedback's good. You need to give feedback.
Oh, you need feedback with everything.
And I think just for everything across the board doesn't matter. You don't like a meal, you say something.
That's the only way to make things change.
I found a hair in my tortellini. It's not good. Giuseppe's dropped it in the tomato sauce. But yeah, look, you got to laugh with some of the stuff too, because But well, there you go. It's only a half an hour episode, but look, if I say the word, I hope you enjoyed it. It just sort of gives you a bit of an insight to what we've just experienced, and it's going to take me a while to actually get over that. In general, but we move forward, don't we? That's what we do. You remember some of those difficult ones and the easy ones. Not saying you forget them, but they were easy. Like you had a good time with them. Yeah,
there was no hiccups to it.
No. Well, thank you very much, Simon.
That's all right.
Yeah. And next time you won't be such a sook. No. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you for listening. And we'll talk to you again another day. Bye for now.
See ya.